Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Monday Night Wars. I'm Brett Mix from Macho Wrestling 101. Hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying these reviews. I love putting them out there. And this week, we're in the 100th week where Raw has faced Nitro head-to-head. Not the 100th Nitro specifically, but the ones where I'm counting the ones where they've faced Raw in the same week. This is the 100th time. Nitro beat Raw for the 62nd week in a row. 62nd week in a row that Nitro's won. The scores were 3.9 for Nitro this week, and the score was 3.0 for Raw this week, so a big week for wrestling. They won by a difference of 0.9, so almost a full point ahead was Nitro. And through these 100 weeks in totality, Nitro does have 81 wins, 17 losses, and 2 draws. So this is week 100. It went live Monday night on TNT for October the 6th, 1997 from the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We first see a Brian Pillman text tribute for the first 10 to 15 seconds, which I thought was thoughtful since he was on the other brand in a big, war at the time. They put their differences aside to say, rest in peace, Brian Pillman. Pyro goes off, followed by the Nitro Girls, and this is where one of the Nitro Girls, Che, had a nipple slip to go from one thing important to not really important. I apologize for that, but that's just one of the things back-to-back that happened on this show. This is the same city that held Nitro's debut in the Mall of America back in September of 95, but here they're at the brand new Target Center. Bischoff and Hollywood Hogan come out with the NWO's music, the typical Bischoff, I love you too, oh, you guys, you're too much, and Hogan flexing and ripping his shirt off. Hogan says everybody knows when you're in Minnesota and you're an NWOite, it's for life, as the crowd chanted along. Hogan says he heard that Piper was on his way to Minneapolis as the crowd popped, and he'll show that the NWO is just too sweet, as the crowd chant along with that too. Booker T with Jacqueline takes on Jeff Jarrett with Queen Deborah. This match would be a preview of future main eventers for WCW in the next few years. Jarrett out first with Deborah, who's separated from Mongo as she slapped him in the face. The two would argue later in the show as well, but that's afterwards. Booker T then had his leg tripped down as Jeff Jarrett went to work on his leg, slamming it into the ring post, then strutted it around every time he had the offensive output against Booker. Booker with a spinneroonie and a Harlem sidekick, but Double J rolled out of the ring, showing his wrestling smarts. They talk about Booker T needing to run out of gas because he's used to Stevie Ray, who's injured, to be in there for a tag, so it's different in singles competition. Mongo comes out and goes to the floor and levels Jarrett with the right hand, and then Booker T won at 8:30 as he rolled up Jarrett after Mongo's payback. The two, Mongo and Jarrett, meet at Halloween Havoc, but Booker T gets the win here. I gave it 2 stars and a quarter. They build up Piper and Hogan in a cage for Halloween Havoc. They do a little video preview. Next up, Alex Wright takes on Billy Kidman. A young Kidman comes in to wrestle Alex Wright, who is the more established star back here, back in this day. Kidman with shorter hair and red tights taking on Alex Wright in his custom orange trunks with knee pads and black boots. Both these men are 23 years old, but Wright's been in the WCW for 3 years, and that's the difference here. They show Mongo and Jarrett arguing backstage. Jeff Jarrett gets involved, but Deborah slaps Mongo on a split screen. In the ring, Alex Wright keeps dancing move after move. This is actually a really good match, but it wrecks the quality of the match when Alex Wright comes out of nowhere with the German suplex, dances, and then wins. Wright wins at 6:04 as he makes the whole match look like kind of a joke because Kidman hit a lot of offense, high-risk offense, and impressive offense to Wright, but then when Wright gets one offensive move in, like the German suplex, he dances and then pins him. So I take a star off the match. I would have put 2.5 stars. I give it 1.5 stars instead. Ernest Miller took on Mortis with James Vandenberg in his corner. Ernest Miller not really wrestling a lot on Nitro, but he's been in the previous Nitro episodes. They go over his martial arts history and show how good he is as he hits a big side kick, a lot of thrust kicks at 5:32. He defeats Mortis when he finished him off with a unique springboard side kick. Mortis, with a leap of faith attempt, crashed and burned, and Ernest Miller springboarded off one rope to the next to connect with the kick in midair. Some good stuff here from this match. I gave it 2 stars. Scott Hall then came out with 6 to take on Hector Garza for the second time in 3 weeks. 2 weeks ago, Garza got the upset win when Larry Zbyszko came to the ring and fooled Hall. Scott Hall comes out on the mic and tells Luger he's going down. He's telling Zbyszko if he interferes, he's going down. Scott Hall wanted to make this upset right. Sort of like when he lost to the 1-2-3 Kid in WWF, he came out and beat him later. That's what he does to Hector Garza here with an outsider's edge at 154. I gave it half a star. Hall after the match torture racked the ref and sold his ribs as a joke as the fans laughed. Schiavone talked about a man called Bill Goldberg who had an NFL background with the Atlanta Falcons and has picked up 2 wins in as many weeks. No time for him to be in the ring this week. He's still 2-0, and he'll remain 2-0 after this Nitro as he did not appear, but they still gave him the rub on commentary. DDP took on the Disco Inferno, who's going to defend his title against the lady, Jacqueline, at Halloween Havoc. DDP wins by DQ at 4-1 after a double axe handle to the floor and then threw him shoulder first into the ring post. Macho Man removed the bottom of the mat. Savage grabs DDP and goes for a pile driver on the concrete, but Piper gets in Savage's face and DDP hits a diamond cutter on the concrete to the Macho Man Randy Savage. I gave the match a 1.25 between the Disco Inferno and DDP, but it's afterwards that mattered when DDP diamond cuttered Randy Savage on concrete floor. The whole NWO come out as Savage gets taken off on a stretcher. Elizabeth is crying. The Target Center chant, na 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 na, hey, goodbye to Savage. The acting commissioner of WCW comes out, and it's Roddy Piper, who says that the Page DDP match will now be no rules Las Vegas death match at Halloween Havoc. Hogan and Bischoff then come to the ring, and Piper and Hogan stare each other down. Bischoff demands respect. Hogan says, "Who the hell do you think you are? For 15 years you've been in my shadow." Bischoff went for a karate kick on Piper, but he ducked and he hit Hollywood Hogan with the kick. Piper had Hogan down, but the NWO are helping Hollywood to the back. Piper swings the belt around, and in the ring, Piper is in charge, Schiavone screams. They do the Lucha Libre video as they teach us about Lucha Libre wrestling for the second time in as many weeks. Schiavone says we will have a return match from Saturday night tonight as Hennig will face Benoit instead of Savage now that Randy Savage is out of commission. The next match was Eddie Guerrero versus the Ultimo Dragon, and this is obviously going to be a great match. 2 of the best workers ever in the ring. Ultimo Dragon sends Eddie into the corner. A German suplex almost gets him. Eddie then hit the Ultimo Dragon with a ton of offense and a tornado DDT out of the corner of the ring, out of nowhere, and then he hits him for the frog splash where he leaps all the way across the ring. Maybe the greatest WCW match to come ever after Eddie wins this match at 6:07. I give it 3 stars. Maybe one of the greatest matches ever when Eddie faces Ray at Halloween Havoc for that Cruiserweight title. That's going to be amazing coming up. Obviously, it's already done. It's over 25 years ago, but it's coming up in the succession of WCW, and it's one of the greatest matches you'll ever watch. So if you have never seen Halloween Havoc 97, go back and watch Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero. The main event now, Curt Hennig of the NWO instead of Randy Savage after the DDP on the concrete took him out. So it's Curt Hennig versus Benoit. This is Curt Hennig's 3rd Nitro in a row he's main evented. And he also main evented WCW Saturday night. Well, I don't know if that was the main event, but it was on WCW Saturday night where he took on Benoit. This is a rematch from that. Hennig and Benoit work a really good match. Hennig wins at 5:01 after the perfect plex. NWO obviously come in after match. For a 5-minute match, it was pretty good. That does it for the wrestling portion of Nitro, but there's still lots more to go. After the match, the NWO cleared the locker room to beat on Benoit as the fans throw in graffiti. The fans throw in a bunch of stuff. They end the show with Ric Flair returning to the ring as he comes down and chops the NWO as the fans are going crazy. Flair chased Hennig to the back. Security follows down the entrance aisle. Flair went looking for Hennig in the parking lot, but then he comes back to the ring where Mean Gene introduces Ric Flair to his music. The crowd are certainly aware that at the Fall Brawl, his face was mush, and Flair had to go to the ring, and he said for Hennig, he wants him at Halloween Havoc. Hogan, he wants him in the future if Piper doesn't kill him first. Quality-wise, I rate this Nitro a 7.5 out of 10 because it had Flair's return at the end. They didn't overdo it with his return, and they just had it made. It's simple. He came out, he talked, he didn't get jumped by anyone, and Sting didn't come down. But there was no Sting on this episode, which sucked, but Ultimo Dragon vs. Eddie was a great match. Booker Jarrett was a great match. The Savage bump by DDP was important for the feud for Halloween Havoc. Flair's return was good. Piper and Hogan got a lot of build. So this Nitro did a lot of good things leading into Halloween Havoc 97. It wasn't even the go-home show. So they had a lot of strong build here, and it was entertaining. Most of the stars showed up, and Sting doesn't have to show up every week. It's better if he doesn't. So that was one of these weeks. So again, hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying the Nitro reviews. I'm enjoying them too. I'm Brett Mix for Nitro, and I'm out.